Yes, and welcome back to a brand new episode of DUD SPUD Quickies. So, as I was saying in the intro, make a quick intro because it's called Quickies. Just go through a number of films that would be perfect for the DUD SPUD series, but the films I've already seen or the boys already seen as well. So it's nothing we're going to do on the show. So when you watch stuff we haven't seen, other thing, go on my Rumble. Loads of videos I've done on YouTube, well not loads, about 3 or 4 of them now. Copyright bollocks, so they get blocked, you can't see them. If you go on Rumble, they're fine. All my episodes of Duddle Spud are on my Rumble, so if you check the description, there's more Duddle Spuds on the Rumble, basically. So, we're going to get into this episode with an absolute belter, a belter. This has soon become one of my favourite films, easy. Watched this a while ago, came out in 1993. It's called Road to Revenge, aka Champagne and Bullets. Now, this, I can't remember how I came across it. I think there was a review years ago or someone came up there. I was like, I have to see this with my own eyes. When I watch it, was one of them ones I've watched a lot now. Got people to watch it. Fantastic. He's like a Tommy Wiseau guy. Basically, he wrote, directed, acted. He's this badass guy. And as you can see on the poster by here, look at his face. Look at that face. The whole film, he looks like he's being held hostage. You know what I mean? He's like this the whole time. And there's this amazing scene where he does a whole song piece. He's doing like a line dance. He's singing it himself. You can tell it's all pre-recorded. He's done it himself. And he's just like this, doing it like off screen. It looks like someone's just off screen got like a gun to his head and he's doing this. And there's loads of scenes down when he's like punching people. It's really awkward and stuff. It's the epitome of a bad but enjoyable movie. So naturally, this just gets a spud. It does. I'm not going to say too much about it. You might have probably already heard of this one if you're into all the mad movies. But John the Harp, bless his soul. Apparently, I was looking on IMDb. Years later, I think 2006, he did a film, another film. I think he must be a cameo in it. He's not even listed up there. Called The Champagne Gang. He's Crook Catcher's host, so he's a host in that film. But that's also a film with champagne in the title, so I don't know if he's an alcoholic or really likes champagne, but he was on a lot of it when he made this film. Anyway, next one we're going to go for now. This one I did watch years ago, and I think there is a sequel to it. But I couldn't remember it too well, so I kind of rewatched it again recently. Directed by Robert Englund, aka Freddy Krueger. This is called 976 Evil. Came out in 1988. So basically, people ring this hotline number, 976 Evil, and supernatural powers end up happening. So it's a little bit kind of like a ringish thing in a way that rather than watch, you ring the number and shit happens. Great idea, great concept, directed by Freddy Krueger himself. So yeah, I watched this again the other day, and I'll be honest, I was a little bit underwhelmed by it. It had great ideas, it just didn't go there far enough. Some of the scenes were really good, remind me a lot of A Nightmare on Elm Street, which is going to. Some of the actors are actually pretty cool in it, but yeah, I was a little bit underwhelmed. It was just, I remember when it being done going, yeah, don't think I'll watch that one again. You know, by all means, not a terrible film, but I'll give it a dud just because, I don't know, when I came out of it, I was just weren't that impressed overall. Right, the other one I'm going to talk about, 2 of them, hilarious films. You've probably heard of these. Quite a few people have reviewed these, hence why I'm only doing the quickies. I've seen these years back. David Carradine films. He's clearly drunk as fuck in most of the scenes on both of them. So the first one's called Future Force. It came out in 1989. And then the sequel, Future Zone, which came out in 1990, a year later. Must have been filmed back to back. And in the sequel, it's got bloody Ted Pryor. And it's directed by David Pryor. Deadly and Deadliest Prey. So that was amazing. So yeah, these films just hilarious. These are the epitome of like so bad because Carradine is literally like you could play a drinking game. It's like anytime you think he's drunk, take a sip, you'll 100% be drunk by the end of these films. Without shadow of a doubt, he's like mumbling his way through it half the time. He's got this glove thing which only comes into use like twice throughout the film or something, but they make a big deal of it. He just seems so washed out, but all the ladies still love him and that. It's hilarious. Both of these, like the sequel and Future Zone, again, it's got Ted Pryor in there, isn't it? Like, you know what I mean? They team up and it's just more batshit shenanigans between them. But yeah, the both of them get full on spuds, 100%. Fantastic films, like so bad, but yeah, you can't help but love them. The next one we're going to talk about, another very popular one. It's done its rounds on the internet loads. You've probably seen a clip at least from there. It's called The Amazing Bulk, came out in 2012. This one, when I first saw it, I was like, oh, I got it, it looks so ridiculous. So filmed on green screen. If you see like the monster effect, it looks like, I don't know, like a rat, a 4-year-old rat with some mental issues created a character on I don't know, a cartoon software thing from, I don't know, before the pterodactyl ages, and this is what they came up with. It's ridiculous, like, it's so bad, which is why I had to watch it. But one of them ones where only an hour and 16, in fact, that's that drag, I tell you. This, I remember, was one of them ones after, I was just like, oh, like, even after about 50 minutes, I was like, well, I think I've seen everything I need to see, but I gotta commit to it. And yeah, I came out with a headache on this one, dud. Watch a clip or two, but don't put yourself through it all. It's not worth it. Right, next one. Absolutely fantastic, beautiful, glorious, amazing film. In my last Quickies episode, we talked about one of the zombie films there that I really enjoyed, and I did mention this one in the last episode. So this one is called The Beyond, came out 1981. It has got another name for it, this one, The Beyond. It's part of the Gates of Hell trilogy thing. But yeah, amazing, super gory, crazy, like really creepy to watch. Even all these years later, you kind of want to take a shower after watching it. It's great. Loads of crazy gore, supernatural mixed in with zombies, which usually I'd be more like now with. But yeah, does really well. Opening scene is some dude getting chased down, if I remember, and you guess like his face all melted and that. It's quite funny. But yeah, this outrageous gore and fantastic ending. Really like the ending. I was like, whoa, fucking hell, that was fucking cool. But yeah, 100% gets the spud. I won't say too much about the Beyond. You probably already know it if you're on the reviews. Next one I'm going to go on about came out in 2011. It's called Twixt. Um, I I was very interested by it because I remember when I saw like some screenshots of it and a trailer. I was like, man, this looks like really gothic-y, kind of like comic book-esque, I guess, style. Like it had a mad style to it. Val Kilmer's in it, and I hadn't seen him do stuff for quite a while. You know, this is later in his career. Really well shot, really cool ideas. But it's about vampires really, but then they're not really that much in it. You know what I mean? I went in there hoping it was going to be a bit of a horror, but it came out more feeling like a drama. I was just kind of bored a bit more than anything. Shot really well and that, beautifully done. But yeah, unfortunately, I'm going to give this a dud just because I do remember, as much as I really wanted to watch it, when I finished watching it, I was like, oh, bit of a letdown. Is what it is, some of them. Next one came out in 2016 called Cyborg X. Now, if you see the cover of this, which you're looking at, you're going to have Danny Trejo on it. Danny Trejo on it. And you're going to be like, oh shit, like amazing. He's only in there for like a scene or whatever, like, you know what I mean? It's actually the two people next to him, the girl and the guy who's in it most of the time. There was some alright gore scenes and everything, some like a monster gets his head cut off, which is quite cool. There's some that look alright. There is one or two other gory scenes. I think some dude gets cut in half, which is quite funny, and he's still alive, but whatever. But overall, yeah, it was kind of a drag. I remember just being like, oh man, once Johnny Tree had been and gone, you're like, oh, I see what this film's fucking doing. Had some cool ideas and concepts. Some of the monsters were cool, I'll give it that, but overall, dud. It's not one I could recommend to anyone. Next one to go on now. I haven't seen this for a while, but I did rewatch trailers like, yeah, it's all coming back now. Came out 2011, called Priest. Now, this one, for a while, I was getting mixed up with another film that came out a year before, I believe, with the same actor in this, Paul Bettany, called Legion. Similar thing, like, he's fighting kind of like vampires and stuff like that. So I remember for a while, I used to get these two mixed up, but the Priest one he's basically a priest. It's a group of priests, and they go around like taking on monsters, but they're more like lickers from Resident Evil. Like that's the best way to describe their design. Like, you know what I mean? The CGI in this, I will be honest, was quite let down at points, and it does kind of stand out in you a bit. Well, you know what I mean? There's some very very cheesy moments in this. However, for like one of them films, just leave your brain at the door. You know what you're getting into. It's not trying to be serious. If you can look past some of the quite bad CGI, which some of it is, and some of the action scenes is a bit like, why do you slow down for that? But overall, it was all right. By all means, not a fantastic film, but I don't think it deserves the hate it gets overall, in my opinion. Just on the line, it just gets a spud, right? By all means, if you said to me, man, dud, yeah, I wouldn't be mad at you with that at all. So the last one we're going to do, last two, they made films of. very well-known computer game franchise, House of the Dead, and then House of the Dead 2 Dead Aim. So the first one came out in 2003, and the second one came out 2 years later in 2005. First one was directed by Yui Ball, wasn't it? Yeah? Was the second one? No, someone else did the second one. But yeah, this is quite notorious. You've seen it, people saying how terrible it is really bad. At one point it turns into like a Matrix film, like fucking shooting zombies and shit. And like when it first came out, I kind of liked it for how dumb it was, you know, like I would laugh at it and I'd be like, I can't believe this is the House of the Dead film. I weren't expecting a comedy style film. I was expecting them to at least try and not take it serious, but not to be as dumb as it was, like, but I kind of liked it for a while. And then he did the second one, Dead Aim, which if I did rewatch not too long ago actually, but that one there, I think they made more effort to try and make that a little bit more like the game, but kind of like the first one. What they should have done is not called this House of the Dead at all. Just give it a different name, really, like, because they do name drop people here and there on the first one, Curian and G, but if they were just to change that, really, you could be a completely different film, not be related to House of the Dead, which is what went against it. If these films had come out not as a House of the Dead films, just some other zombie films, I probably would have been able to give them spuds, but because they're House of the Dead and they went out their way to be House of the Dead films, they're quite embarrassing for House of the Dead films. Like, what can you do with, like, you know, a light gun shooter? A lot better than this, surprisingly, I would say. I quite like the one dude, what's his name in the first one he acted? He's quite funny on, I found him funny on here. Jürgen Pochnow? I can't pronounce his name, but the character Kirk, the guy on the boat, I quite like this character, to be honest. Like, I didn't mind him. But yeah, they were just like zombies with like, they trying to go to the game with the axe, but they're like kung fu zombies at points, and then they jump up and she shoots a shell and he does all the camera going around, tries to be super stylish. I don't know, it just didn't work for me. As a kid, I didn't mind it, but especially with an older mind frame looking at it, yeah, for House of the Dead, I'm sorry, dud. Like, you know, even a sequel, although I think that's a bit better, still, just don't call yourself House of the Dead, you would have got spuds there, really. But yeah, that's it, keep them quick. This has been episode 4, I believe, yeah, episode 4. There'll be more down the line, so keep an eye out, and more Dud or Spuds to come. Maniacal Mac out. Peace.
Maniacal Mac.